Marco Rubio and some of the others in the administration, interesting who they are now trying to pressure foreign governments into labeling Antifa a terrorist organization. Wait, what? Antifa barely exists here, let alone in foreign nations. So what are they actually trying to do? That's really interesting. Anna, tell us more.
So the Washington Post put out this report, and I was fascinated by it because when you take a step back and you look at the behavior of the United States government and what we're involved in the Middle East, what we are empowering and emboldening, and what we have emboldened in the Middle East, there's quite a bit of terrorism going on, right? A lot of innocent people are getting killed. But Marco Rubio is soliciting the help of 60 countries in order to fight what the Trump administration views as a major peril: the resurgence of transnational far left terrorism. That is insane. That is insane. You have no right and no leg to stand on when it comes to the topic of terrorism. You have been bombing fishing boats in the Caribbean. Okay, like what are we doing here? But anyway, this invitation that Marco Rubio sent to 60 different countries included most European nations, the larger Latin American countries, and several Asian countries, including India, Indonesia, and Singapore. And so he's asking to meet with them, like get together, this international meeting where they discuss like fighting back against the scourge of left-wing terrorism. So Trump designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization last year. And additionally, and this is the part that really gets me jank, Trump's foreign counterterrorism czar, Sebastian Gorka, who's foreign, you can tell by his voice. I have no problem with foreigners, but how about foreigners don't label Americans as terrorists as they're working for, the White House? But anyway, Sebastian Gorka has been pushing for the use of the terrorism label against Antifa to basically justify viciously going after left-wingers as if they're like Al-Qaeda terrorists. Oh, no, not Al-Qaeda terrorists. We actually armed those people and invite them to the White House and spray perfume on them. Anyway, a linkage to foreign terrorist groups can unlock certain investigative tools, such as surveillance, said one US counterterrorism official. And if you guys can remember, through an interview that I had done with Ken Klippenstein, his original reporting found that Sebastian Gorka was also looking to label certain conservative Republicans as terrorists, including Tucker Carlson, simply because he doesn't agree with Tucker Carlson's views on Israel. So that reporting was done by Ken Klippenstein. I even interviewed him about it. You guys should check that out if you missed it. But some US officials, rightly, are very worried about this move. Why is that? Some Trump administration officials fear that a future Democratic administration could use the tactic against conservative activists, one administration official said. Quote, the idea is you're setting a precedent for a future Gavin Newsom administration to turn these authorities on conservatives, the official said. So it turns out that there are still people with some, functioning brains in government. So I'm really happy to see that, because whoever this person is, they are absolutely right. You should never advocate for the dismantling of rights for anyone, because it will boomerang right back to you. And people who don't see that, people who don't realize that, are digging their own graves. In fact, some US officials have even declined to go to this event that Marco Rubio is putting together. Discomfort with the administration's direction is such that at meetings of national security officials from various agencies, some intelligence analysts have declined to brief on Antifa because they do not regard Antifa as a serious counterterrorism threat, according to one person familiar with the matter. And to be clear, US law actually requires a group to be foreign in order for them to be labeled a terrorist organization. Former State Department official Jason Blaskins, who ran the designation process for 10 years through 2018, told the Washington Post that if it has any significant domestic presence, it cannot be designated foreign, meaning Americans cannot be labeled as terrorists by our own government. Now, Marco Rubio's previous designation of foreign Antifa groups was also called into question because as you mentioned earlier, Cenk, Antifa is an American thing. But what Marco Rubio is trying to allude to is just left-wing groups in other countries. And so Rubio has linked foreign groups to Antifa before. Back in November, for instance, Rubio designated 4 European-based groups as terrorist organizations with ties to Antifa. The State Department released a fact sheet on the groups with the names the agency is using for them. At least one of the groups is not known by the name of their on the sheet. In their countries, none are linked to anything called Antifa. And so the groups, according to the State Department, include Antifa OST in Germany, the Informal Anarchist Federation, or the International Revolutionary Front in Italy. Like, if Italy's having problems with any group in their own country, like, they'll handle it. Like, why are we having like this international consortium getting together in order to fight back against left-wingers? And the country that's setting this up is the one enabling Israel to carry out how many different wars? Ethnic cleansing in Lebanon, genocide in Gaza. You want to talk about terrorism? You want to talk about terrorism? There was a Palestinian man who wanted to do something nice for the Palestinians who are in Gaza right now. So he organized like screens for them to be able to watch the soccer matches as part of, the FIFA matches that have been going on. Israel bombed his car and killed him.
Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, no, there's real terrorists in the world for sure. So I'll come back to them. So we're trying to shut down Antifa in Germany. You know, Antifa is short for anti-fascist. Why do we want pro-fascist groups in Germany? That doesn't sound like a good idea, does it? So, but in reality, of course, these groups are microscopic, and including here. And we used to have debates on the show and discussions on the show about, what's worse, left-wing or right-wing terrorism. And, the proof is overwhelming on the right-wing side. But does it really matter, guys? Both are, in the scope of crime in America, tiny, okay? So what they're obsessed about this, even though there's almost no left-wing or right-wing terrorism, tiny amounts over the span of the last 10, 20 years, right? So why are they getting all agitated about both sides? And Gorka's the giveaway. So if you don't know, Marco Rubio, Sebastian Gorka, and Stephen Miller, the 3 people in the administration most in favor of this and pushing this forward, are all Israel first. And Gorka's the giveaway because of what Anna said. It goes, by the way, we should also use it against the right wing, against Tucker Carlson, i.e. against all opponents of Israel, a foreign government. But we should call people who are criticizing Israel, Americans criticizing Israel inside this country, terrorists now. And then we should get all of our allies to call them terrorists. Guys, the surveillance state is coming. And this is how the game is played. So now when the theoretical right wing is in charge, they're not right wing, they're just Republican cutouts for a foreign government. They come in and they go, left wing terrorists, make sure you pass this law and you all coordinated against these terrorists. And then a Democrat, so-called Democrat wins, and then he goes, you have to get the right-wing terrorists and you have to make sure we coordinate. Look at that, all Americans are terrorists. Now we're doing a surveillance state on all of you. That's why, and by the way, I've called right-wingers who did, attacks against innocent civilians here, and it meets the definition of terrorism. But in this story, we find out that, if you're an American citizen, there's a different word for you and not terrorist. And you know what? I had already withdrawn that earlier. I'm double withdrawing it now. You know why? Because it's a dangerous thing to start calling one another terrorists. It's a slippery slope, because once you call someone a terrorist, then the government goes, I have every right to take away all of their rights. No, you don't. No, you don't. They're American citizens, whether they're on the right or the left. If they're accused of doing something terrible, they still have their rights. We go through a process, we go through justice, and if they've done something terrible, then we bring justice to them, okay? But we don't bring injustice, and we certainly don't do it to American citizens on behalf of another country. If you're worried about actual terrorism, imagine people killing innocent kids on purpose. What vicious terrorists. Well, there's a country that we funded that killed 23,000 innocent children in Gaza. Disgusting terrorists. the worst civilian kill ratio of any terrorist group in the world, and that's the Israeli Defense Forces. But those guys go, no, give me your money, I'm sending it to those terrorists to murder 23,000 children. But you, if you defy Israel or anyone in power, we're gonna call you a terrorist and take away all your rights. So that's what this is about. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.